Hello, hello.
Hey there.
Hey, hey.
Howdy.
Hey, interesting thing on my side, I don't know if you guys have the same experience. If I try to click the Hangout button before the Google Talk plugin has had a chance to grab my camera and everything, I have issues getting the Hangout started. But if I wait until I see my video in there and I can see that my mic's been grabbed and everything, and then I go ahead and click the green Hangout button to initiate, I don't have any problems. Is that a similar experience to anybody else?
I don't think I've had that, but it may just be that I've never been fast enough.
Hmm. Hey, one other thing, just a tip since we're all wearing glasses. Do your glasses, are they treated with anti-glare?
They are, but they're old enough that it doesn't work very well anymore.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, no, I've been dying to find a solution to this glare problem for ages.
Yeah, I just got these probably about 3 months ago, and it's the first pair that has rectified the glare problem for me, so it's worked out really good.
Yeah, my problem is I can get the glare off my glasses,
Right.
except for the fact that I start getting glare on my forehead. So
I just posted something that will go viral, just so you know.
Oh my God. Oh, it's tough being green.
this isn't like your cat thing, right?
No, this is going to go viral. Trust me.
Oh, God.
Merry Christmas to Leo Laporte, the Henry Ford of IP broadcasting.
He has responded. He just did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, I got to be on live with him back in the early days. He was experimenting around with. It wasn't Skype. It was one that starts. I can't. It was some other kind of a program where you can have multiple videos on. And I had my 3-year-old granddaughter here, and he put me on air, and he was talking to her and everything. It was quite interesting. I can't remember what that program is called. It's not Skype. It's another one where you can have multiple videos.
See you, see me.
No, it wasn't that either. It's another one. Maybe I can figure out which one it was.
Okay, interesting. I'm reading the post. This is referring to what I sent to you the other day.
Yes, I specifically ordered all of you not to address during the show Friday because he hadn't had a chance to respond.
Well, I didn't remember you specifying that, but I wouldn't dream of doing so anyway.
I know. I just wanted to, you know. I think Leo is what I've said this before. He's the Henry Ford of internet broadcasting. He made it. He taught us all how to do it affordably, and I love the guy for what he does and for teaching all of us. I'm sure Bruce. I'm sure you studied his wiki on how to do it. 100%. All of us did.
Yep.
He taught us how to do it, and he's been separated for a year, and it's nobody's business, but it's a matter for him and his family. And Gawker, as I've said on shows before, I have a personal disagreement with them because they've taken my content before and used it, and my agent told them to take it down, and their lawyers got involved, and they were basically like, you know, up yours. And it's not a site that I would affiliate with, and I'm being very diplomatic. I'm in keeping with the terms of service agreement when I did this Hangout, but I'm not a fan of Gawker or what they do. I think it's sleazy, and I own 3 tabloids, so for me to say something, you know, that's saying it's like you know, that's like it's like Bill O'Reilly accusing you of sensationalism, you know.
Okay, that's more interesting stuff. Hit the apps tab.
All right.
That program I was referring
hang
to
on, I
was
gotta send
called...
Leo something. Hang on one sec. Give me 1 sec, and I'll do it. I promise.
Yeah,
Y'all carry on for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, that program I was referring to is called OOVOO. OOVOO.
Huh, I haven't heard of that one. Which
Yeah,
is, I guess, not too surprising, but
it was interesting. He was experimenting around with it back in the early days before he created the Skyposaurus and also. In fact, if you Google multiple video chat using those terms, they come up on top ahead of Skype even. So. Yeah, one of the things I like about XSplit, not only is it free in beta right now, but XSplit is one of those programs that will allow you to stream to multiple CDNs at one time. You can stream to Justin, Ustream, Livestream, Bamboozer, all at the same time. That's a feature that you have to pay for the high-end VidBlaster or Wirecast to do.
I mean, I got to admit, I had absolutely no interest in video casting until Hangouts. In fact, until I started talking to Dan. No interest whatsoever. I think I look lousy on video, and I never had a webcam of any halfway decency to speak of before, so I was totally uninterested in this.
I just see it as providing an option for people who like that or prefer that.
Yeah, it's more. I never thought about it. I had never had any interest in it. I had friends who were involved in designing the multicast video protocol. I know you got to go.
No, I don't. I mean,
that's not your time. That's not your 15-minute timer.
Well, that's my time, but I actually brought it in here so I could pour. So, oh boy.
I have friends who were involved in designing the video multicast protocol. But and that was back in the late 80s. But I was completely uninterested in such things myself. Until now.
Well, and if you've been doing this online thing long enough to know, you can tell within 2 to 3 minutes who's a Leo wannabe and who's really serious about trying to take new media to a different level. I mean, you can just watch Ustream and you see all the junk that's out there. So, but
hopefully Brad's going to be joining us shortly from down under. All right, so now I need to share my screen.
No. Okay, you can share your screen if you want, but
yeah, I want to share my. Well, let me try it first. Let me just tell people what I'm doing. For those who missed the first part of this, in the on-air Hangouts on the top left of my screen, let me put myself up here. It's my non-sexy green screen behind me. On the top left of my screen, I have a chat button and an invite, and then a screen share, and then apps, and then reindeer, of course, which is the most important of those options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on apps and see what happens here. And nothing happens.
Still nothing.
0.
Darn and darn. Okay, so I get to yell at the Hangout devs.
But the reindeer button works. That's the first time I've ever used it.
Really? It looked good on you.
You know what's funny is Oleg used it before I did. Just to mock it. I wish Oleg would join us. We could get a little bonus round.
I'm going to have to talk to the Hangout, the app dev people Wednesday and find out why the apps pull down doesn't work for you guys. Unless I permit. Well, no, I cut and pasted the address, so it should be the right address.
Now, when I click mute mic on my end, I see a little red mute button come up on my video. Do you see that on your end as well?
No, we don't find out when other people have muted themselves.
Okay.
In fact, I can mute you. I can mute you and block you.
Right.
I can mute myself. I should do that more often, don't you think, Alan?
No, somebody's got to run the show.
You know, it's hard to be the man. No, but seriously, this is a whole. Yeah, this is a different interface. I really like that they don't have the "Are you awake?" pop up on the actual broadcaster. But there are things I like about all of these. I love this, that the screen, you are the exact same size all the time, because I have a real problem with the other one, because I have to have basically I have to cut my shots, and you've seen it. Y'all have waited. Both of you guys have waited for like 10 minutes while I'm setting up my shots, because I have to set up two completely different sets based on whether there are 4 or 6 or more people in there, because it affects the size. And then God help me if I forget to open the chat thing, because once you open the chat thing, it makes the big window smaller, and then I have to redo the shots again after that. So it's real frustrating. But this thing is this random crazy idea that Sergey had to have Hangouts, a multi-user video chat, has turned into the killer app of Google+.
It really has.
And I absolutely love that Muppet thing, that commercial that they did. And
you know what's funny? I saw that the other day, and my reaction was, this is kind of cute, but I don't think anybody's going to be interested in it, and I don't think anybody's going to start going to Hangouts because of it.
Could not disagree more.
It does. Well, here's the thing.
You're a geek. You're a geek. You're already on. I'm on. Bruce is a geek. We're on. We're technically
right. But here's the thing.
People appeal to kids and grandparents and the Muppets.
Right. But here's the thing, Dan.
To the mainstream demographic.
Here's the thing, Dan. If you had never seen a Hangout before, if you'd never been in Google Plus before, would that commercial give you any idea what the hell you were looking at?
I think it seemed a bit obscure, especially because we're so familiar with Hangouts. But I think that it's enough because it's something you wouldn't expect to be associated with Google unless you knew Google and realized that they'd used the Muppets before. The Muppets are cool. Everyone loves the Muppets.
Well, right. I mean, it's actually pretty funny. In testing out my tablet, the tablet's for my 3-year-old son. So he was, to distract him today, I gave him the tablet and ran that video. He watched it 16 times in a row, figuring out how to restart it himself after about the 4th time.
That's awesome. The Muppet one.
The Muppet one.
So obviously it's appealing to
but here's the thing. He's been on Hangouts before.
Right.
He's been in Hangouts several times. So he recognized that, and I don't think he's ever seen the Muppets before.
Muppets are so awesome, and seeing those characters, like the Swedish chef and the 2 grumpy old guys and the cookie, all those guys are awesome.
But here's the thing. You got to wonder, they show the 2 grumpy guys falling asleep in a Hangout. Is that really what you want to say about your product?
That's their. It's okay though. That goes to Mike Elgin's thing. I think it was Mike Elgin or whoever talked about ambient Hangouts. Like just leave it on all day, like wallpaper.
I just noticed that Mohammed Mansour's got a full Hangout going right now.
There's a surprise.
He just sneezes at his webcam, and he's got 9 people there. He's great. God, he was a great guest.
Absolutely.
Smart guy. That was funny. He's like, yeah, well, I decompiled Google's API, but it took me 2 weekends. I'm like, well, take your time, To a layman, I mean, to an amateur programmer, that was impressive stat there.
So you don't see the apps. That's annoying.
I do not. Maybe they've done something because they were watching you earlier.
That's really annoying. Oh well. I'll have to bug them about it.
I'm waiting for another Gawker story with this response. Really, the thing is, just to analyze this, it's telling that the stars of tech have always kind of been under the radar. And it's kind of interesting to see that a story involving a tech celebrity, that someone who's not interested in technology would have no idea who he was. It's almost like we finally arrived. The geeks have finally made the mainstream, that we're subject to the same ridiculous microscope. I don't know.
Those politicians?
And just general celebrities. I mean, that like a tech celebrity, it's the rare tech celebrity who's treated the same way as a rock star, or, you know, I don't know. It's interesting. And the funniest comment, and I say this with affection because I love Leo, but the funniest comment was, this is more disappointing on his technical skill level than a personal level because this thing, we allowed it to pop up. And boy, it was quick. That guy was on it. Apparently they just study these things.
It was quick. It took him 3 months.
But someone like went back 3 months ago and had probably gone episode by episode looking for evidence. You know what I mean? It was crazy. I mean, I don't know. And this will make it, I mean, every time you have an incident like this, it's like someone taking a shot at a political figure, it causes more barriers to be put up. You know, he'll be a lot less accessible after this, because they'll always wonder if there's some Gawker camera waiting for him to pick his nose or something.
Well, he said that that's just how he works and how he lives his life. Okay, so this YouTube video, where was it supposed to show up?
Let me look. Let me see if I have it here. Ordinarily, this is one occasion where I have to have Internet Explorer and Firefox because I'm logged in under my regular YouTube channel and Google account that I use to host the Google Plus Week shows in Internet Explorer, but then I use Google Plus, which is a different Google account. I use that one on Chrome, which is my obvious browser of choice. So you really still need multiple browsers. It's one way to avoid having to log in and out of multiple things.
Yeah, but I already suggested you use incognito mode in Chrome.
But then you still have to log in again. With Internet Explorer, it just remembers my password, and I'm
yeah, okay, that's
good
true.
to go.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, good. It says uploaded processing. But it says 3:41 p.m., which seems,
California time.
6:41. That would have been the current one. Oh, so it's still, okay, I see two here. I see two rejected, and then I see one that is uploaded and processing, and I see another one that's uploaded and processing, but the second one, of course, is still being uploaded because it's the one we're currently broadcasting. So, yeah, I'll keep monitoring this, and once it works, then I'll go ahead and post it to my stream.
But it should show up in YouTube under which account? Or does it even show up publicly?
The YouTube account is McDermott Report.
It is the McDermott Report. That's what I thought.
Yeah. The Daniel P. McDermott is the one for the show. And I want to keep them separate because just for analytics reasons and for the one I care about hits on and one I don't. Hmm.
Okay. So which episode is this going to be of Google Plus Week? Friday?
I don't know. I guess it could cut out a piece of it. I want to do something on SOPA, I think.
I think you really, personal opinion, I know it's your show, but personal opinion, you really want it to be a kick-ass end of year thing. SOPA, we can pick up SOPA again beginning of the year. We can, do our usual, but I'm
We
not.
can do that. Yeah. Do me a favor. I got my neighbor just came in. Hey, y'all carry on some sort of conversation. I'll be right back. Both y'all are good talkers, so it shouldn't be difficult.
Discuss amongst yourselves.
Yeah, put on the ears.
There we go, because we need to have more seriousness around here.
That's true. I don't see Mansour's Hangout. It was only up briefly. There's one I've been noticing. This Moritz Tolksorf, I believe is his name. He's maintained right at full Hangout most all day long. I've just been curious to test out this My Hangouts app to see how it works. It's quite interesting. So I just realized I can click on Maps now and I can zoom in on Virginia and see
all the Hangouts in Virginia.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can see. I'm just kind of curious to see how it works, being able to see Dan since he's close by here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Yeah, so it's funny. It doesn't shows me in Lynchburg. And it shows a Pat Dunlap in Clarksville, Maryland, but I don't see Dan on here. Anywhere in Virginia.
My guess is because
maybe it doesn't show the on-air originators.
Dan does not list a current location.
Okay.
He lists, his usual host of places that he has lived.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, I mean, he says in his bio where he lives, but he doesn't have it set on the map.
Right. So the main reason you don't use plugins and extensions is just a little CPU intensive for you, or?
It's a combination of it's a little CPU intensive, and I've never really seen a need for them. I am not a huge fan of, what am I trying to say? Of either Hangout, of either Hangout Canopy or My Hangouts.
Yeah, I'm just experimenting with My Hangouts.
Yeah,
but something like ad block doesn't intrigue you? I mean, as far as blocking ads on a site, or?
Not really.
No.
I mean, I've gotten to the point where on one of my browsers I now turn off Flash, simply so I don't get Flash ads. But that's more because they cause me problems. I have, what's the right way to put this? I mean, on my website I have advertising. Does it make me a lot? No, it makes me, a couple of pennies a day. But I know that there are a lot of websites that really kind of rely on the fact that they're advertising in order to
Right.
to stay running. So I'm pretty sympathetic to sites that at least, you know, they never get my click-throughs, but at least they're going to get my, you know, the impressions, which is giving them fractions of a penny at best.
Right.
But that's fractions of a penny.
Let me ask you this. Up until 2 days ago, I had the new Google toolbar, but for the last 2 days, it's reverted back to the big black bar at the top again.
I haven't seen it yet.
Hmm.
I haven't gotten it at all. So this has got to be one of the slowest rollouts I've ever heard of anyone doing.
Yeah. Well, there was a way. If you went to a Google site, and then there was a little extension called Edit This Cookie, where you could. There were instructions online how you could edit.
Yeah, all you needed to do was edit the cookie.
Right. Right.
Some of the Google people commented, you know, hey, this might not be such a good idea because you just gave this other person permission to run your accounts.
Right.
So, you know, I've never, you know, there are some things, I guess a lot of it is, for the most part, I play within the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are times that I might play a little fast and loose with the rules. And there are certainly times that I like being at the bleeding edge of technology, but even then, I prefer to do it within the bounds that I'm told I should be playing in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a big fan of going outside the boundaries. I do on occasion, but it's not very often.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the fact that I'm playing with Hangout apps is, you know, it's exciting for me because it's bleeding edge stuff. And I'm frustrated that nobody else can play with them.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Google's letting me play with them.
Yeah, I check quite frequently to see if I've been fortunate enough to get the on-air feature. I'm sure that's going to take a long time to get to everybody.
Yeah, I imagine that the chance of me getting it any time in the near future is pretty close to zero.
Mm.
But when everyone gets it, man, that's going to be incredible.
Yep.
It's a rights issue, though. I mean, it's that, and it could be a big hassle for them. You know what I mean? It all gets into this thing.
You know, quite frankly,
service,
Dan,
but then you got to have a staff to monitor it.
No, you don't.
It's the whole SOPA argument. I mean, you can't give something away if you have to pre-approve everything.
It's not a SOPA argument. It's a DMCA argument. And Google already has the tools in place for DMCA.
But correct. That's how they won the Universal lawsuit. But when SOPA kicks in and it changes the game and it says you're responsible for stuff, and like
right.
Like
well, that's why they're opposed to it.
This kid Justin Bieber and the lead singer for Journey, who both got discovered and became multinational stars because they were singing cover songs on YouTube, they would become felons under this law. I mean, it's a disaster.
Yes.
And the whole DMCA thing was we're talking about the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which says that for anyone watching, it says you have to act on complaint basically. And when they studied it, they discovered that YouTube was quicker than even required. I mean, within minutes of receiving a takedown notice for copyright infringement, they were taking stuff down. They were going way above the requirements of the act. And they found that a lot of the stuff that was being uploaded by Universal. I mean, that was a whole scandal in itself. But to see that change, I mean, people love these services that are free, like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and you know, any number of services. If they had to pay somebody to preview, you know, if Bruce tapes an hour-and-a-half sermon and they have to pay someone to sit there and watch the whole sermon to make sure he doesn't show a picture of a Disney cartoon in the middle of it to illustrate some point, then they can't afford to give that service away, and then their user base would diminish by 95% overnight.
Right.
what
That's
if I?
one of the
But what
that's
if
one
I?
of the big issues with SOPA.
What if I pay a license fee to CCLI for audio, or to the other service for video, and I have rights to broadcast that? Of course, I would imagine those rights apply mainly to the one location where 2,000 or 3,000 people may be able to view. How would they know whether or not I had sufficient rights to do that or not?
It's a judgment call, and they would be protected if you claim those rights.
Right.
And then it turns out that you were lying, then
Right.
they would be protected because they, in good faith, accepted you at your word.
Right.
That still requires some kind of preview and a decision by a human being.
Yeah.
And if you do that, all of a sudden you're introducing a labor expense that didn't exist prior,
Right.
and you're
Dan,
making these services not profitable to offer for free. And,
Dan,
and
you keep using that. You keep saying that a human has to review it, and the fact is, Google's gotten very good at algorithms that detect audio that's in their library of audio signatures. They've gotten very good at that sort of thing.
the current status is if I sing, if Bruce sings some song and records it, basically records a karaoke song, and puts it up on YouTube,
Cover something. Yeah.
a cover song. He doesn't pay the mechanical royalties, and I don't know if there exists an easy mechanism to determine the mechanical royalties on a video that you have no idea how many people are going to view it.
Right.
He would become a felon if X number of people view it per month or whatever. I think it's in a 180-day period. If you do it more than X number of times, I forget. I'm still in the process of reading the bill, which is the best cure for insomnia I've ever seen. But I'm actually trying to read the bill because I want to interview Bob Goodlatte, who's a congressman. 2 of my newspapers are in his district, and I've interviewed him before. I've known him for 20 years. I first met him at a lunch in Lynchburg with a mutual friend, Bruce and I, Steve Newman. I met Bob Goodlatte at a lunch with Steve in like 1989 or something. I mean, I've known him a long time, and I've interviewed him, and he's a major proponent of SOPA. And so I really want to ask him to address these issues, and I intend to do that. I also want to try to get the CEO of GoDaddy on the show, and I'd like to get somebody from Google or some company that has expressed reservations about SOPA, because there is a legitimate problem with sites overseas. My take on it is this. SOPA sucks. There are elements of SOPA that are bad and that could legitimately threaten the Internet.
Yes.
Not explicitly, but if interpreted by certain judges in certain jurisdictions, could legitimately threaten the Internet. So that's a bad thing. And everyone is complaining about it. But all these intellectual heavyweights, like Sergey Brin and other guys, are complaining about the legitimate questions people have about this. But no one is organizing an alternative that would be acceptable to all sides.
Well, there
is a legitimate issue of wholesale theft of intellectual property going on. These pirate sites that offer, easy ways to steal content, and that's wrong.
Well,
so if we can figure out a way to solve it without using a cliche, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, then let's instead of just being negative and criticizing it, and I don't like SOPA, but let's come up with an alternative that makes sense that will be acceptable to folks. Because
did you see the alternative? Did you see the alternative that I posted in the show Friday night?
I had too much going on, so no, I have not.
There is a senator and a congressman. One of them is a Republican, the other one's a Democrat, that have proposed an alternative. Has proposed alternative legislation.
Was it Newt Gingrich and Nancy Pelosi on a bench?
That is just hysterical. I'm sorry. That is just. I gotta wonder how Newt thinks he's going to be able to pull it off with all of this video document against him. But
if anyone is, I love Newt. I used to be I was Steve Newman's campaign manager when we worked at a radio station together. He's a senator in Virginia, and I convinced him to run for office. the first time for city council, and then he's risen up from there. And he's my best friend. He's going to be the best man at my wedding, and he's a terrific guy. And but it's funny to. We used to watch these videos when we went to training at in Richmond, and Newt was he's so smart. And there's this wonderful article about his introduction to the mainstream DC process by Bob Woodward. And Bob Woodward, of course, is the guy who co-wrote all the articles about Watergate with Carl Bernstein. And now he's rich. He's written novel after novel. He's a wonderful reporter. And he earns $100 a month. He used to make $10,000 a year because he kept telling them, just pay me $1 a year. You can keep me on the masthead, you know, because he likes the Washington Post because that made him. And the Washington Post, of course, likes Bob Woodward because he's their star. But he's like, I don't need the money, you know, and you guys are hurting. So he earns $100 a month. And he writes whatever he wants to write, if he feels like writing it, about whatever topic he chooses to write about, if he feels so, you know, so inclined to do so. So it's a great relationship for both sides. But he's written this wonderful piece on Newt back from '92, and I remember reading Priz. I remember reading something about 91 where Robert Teeter, who was a Republican was a Republican pollster, and he said that the one thing that George H.W. Bush couldn't get away with would be raising taxes after that famous, you know, "Read my lips, no new taxes" pledge. And if you went back on that, that would cause problems. And, of course, he did. Mm-hmm. And Newt ended up bolting, but there's ample evidence from Newt's own, like, statements that he was going to support it, and then at the last minute, literally, he walked away from a meeting to the press conference outside the White House. He, like, went the other way and walked, and they were like, what's going on? And President Bush freaked out. And it was this big scandal, and that was kind of the undoing of the president and undoing of Newt Gingrich.
Did you post that on Plus a week or so ago? Because I read that, and it sounds like the sort of thing you might have posted.
It may have no, because this article about this was I think I posted something like that on Plus, but the article actually I haven't posted it yet. I've got it on reserve to post just because I didn't have time. But Bob Woodward yesterday did a story about the whole '92 thing, and it's basically called when Newt was first introduced to the national scene, he threw a bomb, or it's something like that. But it's just Bob Woodward is such a great reporter. And it's based on interviews he conducted in '92 during that episode. But that's what I mean. A lot of younger people don't realize. They look at Newt and they're like, you know, why do people hate his guts? Because he's so intelligent and articulate. And I like Newt. And like I said, I mean, like I've said before, and I did a thing for Huffington Post when he was there. It was on the eve of the potential government shutdown. And so I went, and it was at the football stadium, at the fancy room. I'm sure Bruce has been there upstairs in the football stadium at Liberty University in Lynchburg. And Newt was there. And the CNN was asking all this stuff about the budget shutdown. I had all my questions ready, and just at that time, Donald Trump was on the verge of entering and was at the top of the polls. And so the question I asked when I finally got a turn, because the CNN guy was just like monopolizing everything, and everyone's getting mad at the CNN guy because they couldn't get a question in because he was like rapid firing. And then finally, I got my question, and my question was the one that everyone used. I said, Donald Trump says that, you know, he's going to go to hire a team of investigators to go to Hawaii and investigate President Obama's birth certificate. You know, what do you think about this or whatever? I forget. If you Google my name and if you Google Dan McDermott, Huffington Post, Donald Trump, you'll find it. But it was funny because the guy's mind is so smart. It's like you ask him a question, and you can almost see his head working. It's like by the third word you say, he's already got his answer, and he's just waiting for you to finish talking. He's that smart. I mean, Newt Gingrich is a world-class thinker, but he's like almost too smart. And, he does these crazy things. And I look at the thing. I talk to my family who are like, basically all Republicans, and I was like, who do you like, And the only person you can be able to vote for in Virginia is either Ron Paul or Mitt Romney. And in my opinion, Mitt Romney's going to get it. We have a tendency to, whoever did, was the second run last time gets it this time. And I don't see any of the field beating Barack Obama, because Barack Obama, I don't think that he's done a spectacular. I think he's made mistakes, largely through inexperience, and the economy has not dramatically improved. And I think he spent a lot more money than he needed to spend, given that he entered with a economic crisis. But he is a Class A campaigner, and I don't see any of the Republican field beating him.
I don't see any of the Republican field actually offering anything that could beat Obama.
That's the thing. I mean, it's fear of the unknown, and there's a lot to fear about all these guys who are running on the Republican field. And it's like the strongest candidates haven't entered. Like if you had a Jeb Bush and Larry Sabato, I recommend anybody watching, I recommend you follow Larry Sabato on Twitter. He's a UVA political scientist. He's frequently interviewed by national shows and stuff. He's nonpartisan. He's probably more liberal than Republican, more liberal than conservative, but really smart guy and offers incredible insight on politics. And his Twitter handle is just Larry Sabato. And he's just wonderful intellectual giant. And he just has these wonderful, he's writing a book on Lincoln now, and he's just, or the Kennedy assassination he's writing. He's written a number of books, probably 20 or 30 books.
I was about to say, because we really needed another book on Lincoln.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it was, he's
just like we need another book on Kennedy, I guess, but...
Yes, he has the secret untold story. But anyway, it was just, he's great, and he was talking about this stuff, and I don't know, I think it's fascinating. The Republican field is fascinating. Bachmann, who, it's like George Will said that Mitt Romney has fluctuated wildly between 22 and 25%, throughout the process. And Bachmann, she's done very well in the last couple debates. Newt has been a steady performer. He's the smartest guy in the room. Mitt has been steady. Rick Perry was kind of flash in the pan, but then now he's kind of done well the last time. And now we're in a lull because of Christmas that, there was no activity. And I don't think there is another debate between now and the caucuses, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Mitt clearly will win New Hampshire. If he wins Iowa, he'll probably be the presumptive nominee, at least for a while. Then there's this big lull for another month or two before we get into the other states. And Virginia has been embarrassed nationally because only 2 people have qualified. And you can argue about organizational structure being lacking for any one of them, but when the leading candidate in Virginia's polling, Newt Gingrich, fails to qualify on the state ballot, and when the only 2 of the top 6 or 7 candidates qualify in Virginia, that something's wrong with our system. And Larry goes into this because you have to have, I think, I forget how many tens of thousands of signatures total, and you have to have so many per congressional district, and they have to be notarized, and they have to this and that, and it's just kind of an embarrassing situation for Virginia.
Oh, you're a Super Tuesday state.
Yeah, it's the 12th largest state. We're no joke. We've had more presidents than any other state in the union.
Yeah. We all know that.
Whatever.
Most of them were from the first 50 years, but
when we were a little bit bigger, like the size of Texas. That's an interesting Wikipedia article. If you look, if you go to Wikipedia and do a search for the lost counties of Virginia, you will find that like a lot of Kentucky and Maryland and all of West Virginia and all the. I mean,
Oh,
Virginia
yeah.
was a big state back in the day.
Yeah, they kept chewing pieces out of you.
I know.
The West Virginia one is the one I find most interesting, and there's some question of the legality of
I've
that
ever
one.
heard say that.
What?
You're the only one I've ever heard say that West Virginia is the one you find really interesting.
Well, the way that West Virginia became West Virginia, there's really some question about the legality of it.
Of course, just like Maryland. I mean, talk about Lincoln suspended the writ of habeas corpus and literally locked up Maryland legislators to prevent them from seceding.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do, you know.
But but essentially creating a state out of the portions of another state that were in favor of him.
Oh,
without
really? Yeah.
without that state's legislature agreeing.
Oh, I mean, anybody who's upset about the Patriot Act and calls Bush, all this stuff was, against the terrorists was bad and stuff. He had nothing on Abe Lincoln. I mean, Abe Lincoln just straight up locked up United States legislators to keep the Union intact. It was crazy.
I was about to say something.
But he won, and he gets to write the history, right?
Yes.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
So the YouTube video ever show up?
Checking. I'm going to reload here. It still says uploaded processing. But I see a thumbnail. I wouldn't see a thumbnail if it wasn't there.
No, is it public or is it supposed to be public?
It's private initially.
Ah.
And then I can make it public. But I see Bruce is the thumbnail.
Uh-oh. You can change the thumbnail.
I don't know if I can or not on this. But I'm fine with that. I mean, the thing is, on my show, I try to find a thumbnail where sometimes I often look really bad in the YouTube thumbnails, like a bad mortician job, like Saddam's sons. But once you watch the video, I look okay. You know what I mean? But like some of those thumbnails, I just look horrific, like I've been deceased and I'm on display in the Kremlin or something. This is taking a long time. It must be a high-quality video. It's been at least an hour, right, since we rebooted? Don't you think?
Yeah, just about.
That's crazy.
Oh, hey,
Now,
it finally showed up.
It just came on.
I was going to say, it finally showed up as a channel. It didn't last time I looked.
You can see me just sitting there by myself. So it's not when I click. See, when you first start, there's a button up there, Start Broadcast, Start Public Broadcast, right? And I waited until Bruce came in before I clicked that. But on this thing, I'm watching it now, and you can see me sitting there, and I'm drinking my decaf, waiting for someone to come in on my lonely hangout. Here I'm yawning. Oh, my God. At least a stink bug hasn't landed on me tonight, like during the show. Let me find it here. It may show up if you look at McDermott report. Is it there?
No, it's showing wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos now. It's showing 5 videos. The most recent one was 1 month ago. Twit Brickhouse time lapse. Am I looking at the right guy?
McDermott report. McDermottreport.
Yeah. Dan McDermott sings "This Train Don't Stop There Anymore."
Hello, good song. Dan McDermott, this train don't stop. It's a great song. Gotta love that song.
And y'all, can y'all look at a post I just did and can y'all see the choices? I just did a poll of after watching the video.
I'm going to post in the chat, and Jonathan, I'm looking at your thing 1 sec. This is the link to the video. So it's not been, it's still processing, but I think with the actual link, it hopefully will work. I don't know. You can tell me. Let me see what you got going on, Jonathan.
No.
When I click on the link, it says this video is private. Sorry about that.
Oh, let me change that. All right, let me change it to where you can see it if with the link. Video manager. I guess I want edit video, right? Not edit info. All right, unlisted. All right, so now...
Sorry about that.
You should be able to click on it now, and you may have to F5 on that tab. Or maybe
No, I
not.
just clicked on it and got right to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just clicked on it. Got right to it.
This video is unlisted. An hour 35 minutes of Dan staring at nothing.
I'm quite the voyeur. I like to just be stared at. I'm looking at the comments under the current video. I don't understand this first one. Oh my God, they're making fun of you, Priz.
Oh boy. Do I need to actually go look at this thing?
Join it. Just anybody random can join it. And we could just keep it going 24/7, and that would be the one that we all use.
Do you all also lay down in the beds when you have guests in your own homes too? Oh man, these guys are mean. Should I not read it? And it says, to me it says public. That's funny. Who's this guy? Sonny. He's probably watching me right now. Let me see who this person is. I can't even click on the guy's name. That's funny. Sorry, Priz. You're a public figure now. You'll be on Gawker next week.
Gawker.
Bruce, you look very dignified in the thumbnail.
Well, thank you.
Unlike my Saddam Hussein's son thing. Yeah, my choice. I got 3 different choices for the thumbnail. I've got Alan, I've got you, and I've got her.
Use Maya.
I was going to say Maya's the only one who's more attractive than Bruce, of course. But Bruce is the star of this because really, I thought I really want to point to that. I wonder if is it possible, Alan? Have you ever tried to attach a link to a YouTube video at a specific point?
I haven't. When you say attach, no, I haven't. I don't even know if it's possible. It's one of the things I always found lacking about most of the video protocols is that you couldn't anchor to a specific point in time. Or if you could, nobody's ever bothered doing so.
In retrospect, looking at all this stuff, I'm looking at the massive amount of comments on Leo's post. I think this will actually be good in a weird way because it's going to draw more mainstream attention to...
What's the line? There's no such thing as bad publicity?
Well, to a point. I mean, there is such a thing as bad publicity. But I think he's going to be viewed as kind of a victim, like, in a way. I mean, it depends on where you're coming from. But
have you read the blog post on his Leoville site?
Yeah, that's what I posted.
Oh, okay.
I just think, I think on the one hand, it's interesting that basically all these tech guys like Scoble and Laporte and all these guys, they all fly under the mainstream media radar. They don't really exist in the mainstream media to a large extent. Jeff Jarvis kind of crosses the barrier a bit, but still your average person who's not really a computer enthusiast would not know who these people are. And to see this make Gawker, I mean, I can't think of another. I mean, I've never seen Robert Scoble exposed for picking his nose or something on Gawker, or you know, Jeff Jarvis. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we've arrived in the mainstream in one sense, and in a weird way. I mean, I'm just making this observation. I don't know. This says a lot. When a story about it, you know, a heroic tech geek makes Gawker, it's almost like kind of cool. Although I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that, obviously. And he's had, you know, it's a slow news weekend. So I guess if you had to pick a weekend to be, you know, right through the coals on something like that, Christmas weekend would be a good weekend. Because most people aren't watching the news. And most people are in a forgiving spirit. We're all Bruce Turners over Christmas, right? You're our hero now, Bruce. You know that?
Oh, goodness.
Now we're all going to have to, like, watch our P's and Q's around you. You're just such a good witness.
Oh, man. Today was Charles Babbage's birthday. Shoot.
Mark, welcome, buddy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we?
Are you in Australia?
England, United Kingdom, living on the borders of England plus Scotland within a radius of 8 miles. Yeah?
Wow. It's late there, right? Are you up early or up late?
Well, it's only 42 minutes past 12 o'clock at night on the good Boxing Day, as we call it, in England. So it's not that late, you know.
Since it's past midnight, isn't it no longer Boxing Day?
Have you had a beer?
Oh, come on. No, I don't drink, my friend. I do not do drugs, so don't worry on that account. I will
No,
never
it's totally cool.
embarrass
You're
you.
just animated.
Don't worry.
That's awesome.
That's no problem, my friend. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, Dan? Maybe.
Let's do a round robin. I'm Dan. I'm the host of Google Plus Week, and I'm a newspaper publisher in Virginia. And I used to live in London. First, I lived on Abbey Road, literally right next door to
you
EMI
never
Studios.
did. Really? St. John's Wood? Oh, no.
Yeah, if you look at if you're on Abbey Road and you're in front of EMI Studios and you look at the flat
Abbey
directly to the
Road
left.
In the back of my mind, my friend.
Yeah,
I
right
love
there.
the Beatles. Yeah.
Yeah, I lived right on the flat next. I could my bedroom. I would overlook into the courtyard that was EMI, and then after a while we moved to Swiss Cottage, to a flat there. And but when I was there, when I was at St. John's Wood, right, literally in front of our flat was that famous crosswalk in front of EMI where tourists would stand and obstruct traffic, and they had to replace the street sign all the time because tourists would write stuff all over it. But London was awesome.
My daughter has literally, within the past 7 days, just come back from St. John's Wood, and she sent me a webcam link and says, "Father, did you realize there was actually a webcam link to Abbey Road, but it wasn't in the middle of the road, it was from the side," yes, which meant all the traffic drivers were like, "Bloody hell, for God's sake, beep, 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 can you please move out of the way, stop crossing the road, stop pressing the buttons," and stuff like that. And so what she did was she took 2 still photographs, one of her crossing the crossing and one of her boyfriend crossing the crossing. Then he sent me the webcam link for the 24-hour, and I was like, oh, how cool. But it didn't work. So
anyway, Jonathan, why don't you introduce yourself to our new guest?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
To Mark?
You want to introduce yourself to Mark? You said,
to me?
"Who are you?" So
what have I done to you? What have I done to you, Jonathan?
I'm like, I do know Mark already. Been in a bunch of hangouts together.
Jonathan's like, "I'm minding my own business. I don't have to answer any questions."
Yeah, well, listen, me and Jonathan have been here since day one, so I know every single platform about him. Okay, so John, how's about talking to Dan and introduce yourself to the people of the world, my friend?
Well, ain't too much to say. My name is Jonathan Meadows, and I'm from the border capital of the world, which is known as Detroit. And I lived in Austin, Texas, and
did you say ostentatious?
Austin, Texas.
Well, it was just tossing another little thing on top there. Right, so keep on. In Austin, Texas. But funnily, all my exes live in Texas, Jonathan. Why is that?
And that's why you live in Tennessee? The song, I can't even remember whose song it is.
What was your favorite song from Texas, John? What was your favorite song from
really
Texas, John? I think this is where sometimes I better interject with the good old random 3-minute advert, okay? Which is the... living in a West End town. With you, never know where I'm gone. When to a little bit of me is a lie. Like you, I'm coming home. Can't stop coming out, can't stop coming out.
You're a very talented singer.
This show has been brought to you by kyjelly.com 103.4 on the lubrication channel.
All right, folks. I want to thank everyone for participating in our Hangout tonight, but unfortunately we have to conclude things because it's getting a little bit late. And Jonathan, Bruce, Alan, it was wonderful.
I didn't even get a chance to introduce myself.
Is that a dobro, an acoustic dobro? What is that?
This is a Giannini Craviola. Bought it in 1969 in Ace Music in Miami, Florida. Beautiful. Jose Feliciano played one just like this. And when I saw Mark's guitars...
All right, I want to see you guys. And Mark, we're broadcasting. This is live Hangout, so we got to watch our content. We got to be family friendly. But is there any way you two could try to do something together?
Definitely. Well, listen, remember, I am the professional, so I can play either side of your
I'm very impressed with you, Mark.
Bruce, okay?
But
my
Bruce,
friend, so
is there a
if
song
you can get
know?
your lute out there, give me quickly what your bottom string is, yes, or your key. I will match up with you.
Bruce, show us your stuff now. Let's get that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, let's try something. We've done this before. Hey, the Muppets did it in the newest Google Plus Hangout app.
Of course they did. Sesame Street did it.
Yeah, the Muppets did it. You guys can do it.
Okay, there's my bottom beat for you.
Oh, this is gonna be so awesome.
Here we go, then, my friend. Come on.
Well, I was wondering, can I make up a song about you, Mark?
Exactly. This is what we're all about.
Okay, here we go. Well, I met Mark Wilson in a Google Hangout on a Monday night. Well, Alan was laying down in bed, snuggling with, I can't tell if it's a dog or a cat, and we were having a good time.
At the end was in front of a green screen, but it's all right.
Well, John was lying prostrate. Dan was on his green screen doing all right.
Oh, I like it.
Cheers, mate.
We was reading as one to see on a Saturday night. Warm ski on a Saturday night. Remember. remember, I'm just setting the click for you, okay?
This is definitely going to violate
And I
SOPA.
would never ever know that you wouldn't be right. Left you, honey, sitting in a Google room. Well, I left you, honey, sitting in a Google room. And if I ever do that again, I'll eat mushrooms.
So what's the latest you doing on your end, Dan?
It's a long way from the UK to Lynchburg. That's all right.
That was excellent, that my friend. Well done, Bruce.
Well, I saw that ovation there behind you. My only intent was just to kind of show you an old guitar you probably haven't seen before. So, sorry, Dan.
For the record, Gary, that was all original,
The seagull.
uncopyrighted music, so we're not violating any YouTube rules.
No, totally made.
Not well. I
But
wasn't
the night
worried.
is young. The night
I
is
wasn't
young,
worried
right,
about
Liz?
YouTube rules. I was worrying about humanitarian kind of things. Hey, Mark, that was great.
Who just joined us? Let's see here. Is this
Troll Hangout headquarters.
Troll Hang? That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. I like it.
I got my finger on the end broadcast button, ready to go.
I was nearly there. I was nearly
That must
there.
be a hack. How did that
But I
happen?
think,
What? What's that?
What's Troll Hangout headquarters?
It's a Google Plus
Welcome
page.
Troll Hangout headquarters.
It's a page.
How would they have gotten the URL?
Mhm.
which one
Brand
is
page hack.
you
Oh, I know
are?
this is. Is this my Canadian friend?
Our Troll Hangouts.
Yep.
kid.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Oh,
You're well, I'll post this so you can brag about your hack. I know who this
Well,
is.
obviously, yeah.
How's it going? Did you
I
see
know
I
that-
posted your video with the brick phone?
Yeah.
With the brick phone.
That was awesome. That was so funny. Am I allowed to say who this is, or do you want
Well,
to like
of course
rejoin
you
as
can't
yourself?
mention names. You know what I mean?
No fun if you don't.
Why don't you
mention
log
names.
out now? You've proven it, and I'll save it, and then log back in. So
say
you
it.
can
Name and shame, okay?
I know the hack for myself, so. Have
We've been
fun.
officially hacked. Not really.
We have not
It's
been
been
hacked
easier.
whatsoever. No
Yeah, I know the code behind it.
We've had a concert. All right, he's going to come back in 2 minutes. We've had a concert in here. We've had a dramatic moment with Bruce, who's obviously trying to steal my green theme with his entire look
With
tonight.
his green jumper on, his forest green jumper on, of all things.
We've had a colorful character from the UK join us.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry, I was just trying to pass some time.
We've somehow managed to keep Alan and Jonathan awake. Despite their cozy accommodations.
Alan, what
And Gary Levin is here. This is awesome.
Alan, what prison are you in, Alan? It says you're a prisoner on your
Aren't we
profile.
all?
Yeah,
Well, it's true. True.
it
And Mark, you're still awake over there. My
Hey,
gosh.
listen, my friend, I'm going to bring a nice little English lady for you, right? And if all you gentlemen will just be really polite to her, because she's very delicate, okay? So if you could do that, I have introduced her, and give her at least 3 minutes grace, yes, in which to let her do her hair and make yourself available for the public, yes? Ouch. Ouch.
This has been the most interesting evening, perhaps,
Well, these are the
in my
best
entire
ones
Google Plus
though,
life.
Dan. And these are the best ones, though, where you don't know what's gonna happen in the show. All of a sudden, punk could be invented. All of a sudden, Boy George. Come.
Hey,
He's only like,
Mark.
he's probably he probably lives 10 minutes from you, right? Are you in London? Where are you?
I am. I'm N16 in London, yeah. So
Hey, Dan.
he is literally just down the street, apart from when he's in Los Angeles and he's doing toilet duty.
George O'Dowd. Go ahead, Jonathan. What'd you say?
I was like, for the room to add that page.
All right, Jonathan has a link here.
Yeah, you'll see why when you look at it.
Volare.
Isn't there someone?
It looks
Isn't
like
there
Jonathan.
someone who sleeps in a hangout?
Oh, me?
No, isn't there some woman who sleeps in a hangout for like
Yeah.
hours at a time?
Her, right. Hermie Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah. She always pulling me.
She's always
I'm
pulling
the-
you? Are
I'm
you
the
sure
one-
you want to say that, Jonathan?
I'll put it this way. I'm the one started sleeping in a hangout. Her, right.
Brad is here from Down Under.
Hey, Brad.
She always pulling me. From Troll here.
What day and time is it
I'm the one
in Sydney, Brad?
Put it this way. I'm the one started sleeping in a
I'm in Melbourne, mate.
Melbourne, I'm sorry.
It's 12.
Brad is here.
12
from,
p.m.
Down Under.
Hey, Brad.
So it's 12
these
noon
guys here.
on Tuesday the 27th, right? What day and time is it
Hang on.
in Sydney?
What's that? Say it again.
It's December 27th at noon.
If you
Tuesday at
guys
noon.
Yeah.
are hungry, I brought some dessert for you guys.
Man, that looks good.
Oh.
Oh yeah, these are homemade chocolate chip cookies, and
Oh
this is-
my
these are fudge.
God.
These are dynamite over here. I'm not sure what they are, but
That's
these right,
not
those
good.
little circus right here are just really dynamite. Can you smell them?
No.
Bring it up
What are
close.
they made of? Are they made of lilac?
They look good, but I think your white balance is off because they're sort of purplish.
Yeah, I'm purplish too. I don't know what's sort of weird.
You got some kind of 60s thing going on there.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
Dan,
just I'm cyanotic is what it is.
Brad, it's good to see you. I see you finished your shows for the year.
Yeah, mate. It's back next week.
That's awesome.
How you going? You going well?
Yeah, we're doing great. I had so much fun doing his show, and I was gonna. We talked about me doing his last show of the year, but our show started late, and then we had one problem after another, and I wasn't even finished by the time he was done with his recording, because his
Oh, yeah.
recording's right at 9 p.m. my time, because they record at 1 p.m. in Australia, and especially
Yeah,
with the once we did the time change in the U.S., which they don't follow suit with. Then before I had like a half-hour break in between my show and his, and but now I don't because it's real tight, so I couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
How do you like the Got a question for you, mate. How you like the new Galaxy Nexus phone?
I have not seen it yet. Has anyone else seen it?
Yeah, I have. I went and seen it the other day. Great phone.
Yeah,
Really? Because
I
I've
think
heard
that-
like mixed reviews. I've heard some negative reviews on it.
What sort of negative reviews have you heard?
Just
Wanna
the
pick up
screen
Mickey?
quality and I don't know. Priz, have you seen one?
The only I haven't. Come on, I'm the one who's proud of the fact I got a $99 cheap Android tablet. You got to be kidding me that I can touch
Have a
it.
good time.
Priz's phone was featured in the Wall Street movie remake.
No, the only thing I've heard about it is that it's got atrocious battery life, like
Yeah, that
worse
is-
than usual.
And it only has a 5 megapixel camera.
Hmm.
Who cares?
Yeah, true.
My camera sucks, and my Photon. I mean, it's abysmal.
Tell you what, I'm loving the 4S, mate. If you ever want to get another phone, get an iPhone 4S. Best phone ever.
I've heard that.
Cameras,
What capacity
camera quality's
your
great.
flux capacity run that tonight? Because the rest of us are not getting it. We need 1.21 gigawatts. How are we going to create that?
What the hell do you want about, Mark?
55.
The hell are you on about, mate? Are you drunk again tonight, mate? I've seen you before, buddy. You're a nutcase. I'm sorry to say that, but you are.
Yeah,
And
but
that's why I
don't
blocked
drink.
Google Plus.
I don't drink and I don't do drugs, my friend.
Yes, you
so how can I be? So
You're
funny.
crazy, mate.
So
I'm sorry.
ironic.
The 4S. Two of my layout guys have that, and they're having fun with Siri. The camera's
Yeah, Siri's
amazing
great.
on
I
that
love
thing.
Siri. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess one, I told him because I'd read somewhere you could say like, I have a dead body I'm trying to get
Yeah.
rid of, and,
Yeah.
and Siri will suggest a ravine
Yeah.
nearby or a cave, and then he said, where are all the women at? And it said, Rob, there's 2 nice strip clubs nearby, and then he said, what was it? He said I pooped my pants. And he said, Rob, this men's clothing store looks really good. And it was really funny. It's so conversational in tone. Siri is. It's a game
As far as I can tell,
changer.
people only have fun with Siri. They don't actually use it for anything.
You could say the same thing about the iPad, but they're selling a whole lot of them.
I use Siri all the time to write emails and do reminders and that sort of thing. It's really good.
I think isn't it like, give me an appointment with, make an appointment for me to call Alan at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and it'll do it, right?
Yeah, well, yep. And also
It's one
reads
of the things
your
it does, yeah.
messages.
That's a big deal. That's a game changer, Alan. I mean, and it's
Yeah.
in its infancy, right? It's still in beta in its infancy.
That's
That
right.
whole idea of a personal assistant to just be able to click your phone and it'll figure things out. Like
Listen.
remind me to tell Bruce, remind me to add Bruce's cell phone number when he called me
It's
at
just
3
like
p.m.
reindeer
to
ears,
my
Dan.
contact list. What?
It's just like reindeer ears.
Oh,
Just
please, that's not
listen
analogous at
to
all.
Jonathan
No,
Maddox.
what do you mean it's not analogous?
Jonathan Maddox
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
is
whoa,
one
whoa.
of the
It's
original
exactly
guys.
analogous, Dan.
Yeah.
It is exactly analogous. Siri is filled with a whole bunch of silly stuff. Okay, but underneath it all, there is a real technology, real useful technology, and it serves a real
Adam.
purpose. It's just like the reindeer ear.
Troll headquarters. Huh.
Welcome to the $873 million
Oh,
man.
hey, Adam.
So,
I
so
want
Mark,
you to do
what
me a
phone do you
favor.
use?
Here, add that profile to your list of.
Hey, Mark, what phone do you use, mate?
Okay.
I'm an Apple guy always.
You don't even know
I
what
apologize.
what it is, right?
It's just Apple are the big boys, all right. The rest of you's down there. You just continue having your little bit squabbles.
Adam,
Right.
that was one of the funniest videos I've ever seen when you went to that mall with that brick phone from the 80s, and you said, God, the funniest line, there was one I wrote down, it was like, yeah, I got to get this activated, I got some calls to make. He took a brick phone, probably, like, was it even 80s, or was it 70s? I mean,
No, this one was from 1985, I believe.
Tell the brief story. I'll be right back. Tell that brief story. I'm gonna put you on speaker so I can hear it. This is hysterical. If you look on my profile, I don't remember what day, or if you want to say where it is for someone watching.
It's on my YouTube channel, and he reposted on his profile. It's basically if you want my YouTube channel, it's Tough Life 2007, TOUGHLIFE. 2007. And it's I decided to bring this phone from 1986, one of those big brick phones in the bag kind of things. You guys remember those, right? The cell phones. Yeah. Into the mall and go to each different mobile phone store and try to see if nobody would know what it was. And sure enough, the first store I went to, they had no clue what this thing was. So I walked up to them and I said, "Listen, I need to get this thing activated. Somebody told me to come here because you guys, your service will work with this kind of phone." So at first the girl's looking at the phone. It's a great video. She's like,
I haven't got a clue.
I'm not sure. I don't know where the.
I can picture her right with you, like.
And he goes on and on, right? I keep them going, and then the other guy comes in. The manager comes in. He's like, "Yeah, I think I could activate this, no problem. I mean, I'm just going to put a SIM chip in it." And so he's taking a screwdriver. He's unscrewing the phone, looking for a place to put a chip.
Okay, now.
Oh yeah, I got the whole thing recorded. It was great.
It's like, how much do you want to pay? I can put this extra in for you, and this extra.
I heard I can't get data on this phone, so I can't get internet, right? And they're like, "No, they were just going along with it. It was great." But then at the end, I had to break. The cameraman was filming from a distance, like behind a bush in the mall. Like they have the so he gets up all of a sudden. You see the camera lift, and he zooms in on me, and he comes.
You're still looking back at him through the corner of your eyes and seeing him laughing through the bushes. You're like, "Hey, Adam, we've got that fucking shot. That's class."
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, funny is that, man? But the rest of the people. The rest of the people, come on.
I'm doing pranks in malls, like shopping malls, because there's so many people that you can get with them. And another one I did on my YouTube channel as well is I did a couple of fart videos where I have this like little device that makes farting noises. And like I'll go around in the shopping malls and I just walk up to people randomly and just let one rip, right? And just like catch the reaction. Like the cameraman will be filming from a distance. And usually I'll dress really nice, wear a nice suit and a nice jacket, and so I look pretty much like a businessman. Like, why would I be farting on people, right? So, just their reactions are priceless, though. And they do think it's real farts too. Like they'll just get scared, walk away, or look at me angrily. But the videos are priceless, definitely. It's good for comedy, good for shock effect.
It was funny that. Oh man. It was funny watching the reaction from the guys in the cell phone cart there. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm getting a bunch of weird noises here.
I don't know.
I saw somebody leave.
So, Dan, did you have a good Christmas, mate?
I did. I ate way too much, though, Brad.
Oh, really?
I'm sure I'm not the only one who's going to be. I'm going to be one of those January 2nd people in the mall.
Yeah. Oh, do you have the big sales like we have Boxing Day over yesterday? Do you have like big sales over after Christmas Day?
This is the third largest sale day in America, and I say this only because I actually had to look this up today because I wrote an article about Boxing Day, and this is the third busiest day in malls in America after the day after Thanksgiving, which kicks off the sales season, and the last Saturday before Christmas.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. No, it's big over here in Melbourne. Tell you what, they open the stores at 7 a.m. and they shut at 9 p.m.
Yep. But apparently, I mean, it's big in the U.S. The only difference is that we don't call it Boxing Day because nobody has any clue what that means.
Yeah, true. Yeah. When do you guys go back to work? Are you on holiday still, or?
Most places took today as a holiday, so most places will go back tomorrow.
Oh, okay, tomorrow.
But a lot of companies have closed for the entire week.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob.
Okay, so.
Hey, Adam.
What's up, Jacob?
What's up? What's the cheapest way to register a .com domain?
You know what? Just keep it simple. Go to Namecheap, Namecheap.com. They charge like $8.99, and they give you all the bells and whistles with the domain, like the forwarding and email forwarding, everything you need. You definitely get it from Namecheap. I wouldn't suggest using GoDaddy because they're a bit strange.
Yeah. I'd suggest not using GoDaddy for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I don't even get into the reasons with him because it's probably stuff that wouldn't affect him. But I mean, what it boils down to is GoDaddy. They're a bunch of thieves and they're crooked, so don't even go near them. What it boils down to is GoDaddy. Just use Namecheap, Namecheap.com, and it's great service, excellent customer service. You'll never have problems with them. And,
I just posted the link of the article that I just did about Boxing Day.
Oh, okay, I'll check it out.
It's not that interesting, but it's one of my blog posts. And I just it's not that I just happened to do it today. I was obviously planning it for today, but
a lot of folks may not know what Boxing Day is. If someone wants to just verbally,
or they could go look at the link that I just posted, which talks about it.
Yeah, Boxing Day over here for us over here. We have a big cricket match over here, like Australia versus India. We have like big sales on in all stalls and that sort of thing, and yeah, so it's pretty big day over here. Yesterday was anyway. 26.
We have in Canada we do it for the week. Usually like it's Boxing Week. Boxing Day is the 26th, and then for the rest of the week it's just all the stores have specials.
Yeah.
But Boxing Day itself, the stores only open at 1, which was today, so 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. And then the rest of the week it's until.
So it would be good. It'd be a good day to actually buy an iPod. I'm going to get Jacob an iPod Touch, but it would have been a good day to buy. Get him on today. They would have been on special, but.
Yeah, everything is.
I can't get the money to him.
Let me ask you Commonwealth people a question. Have you ever heard of a Boxing Day tradition where the servants in the household and the masters in the household would swap positions for the day?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's interesting.
I ask only because my introduction to Boxing Day was through this supposed tradition on the television show MASH. And when I went to write this blog post today, that's what I had in mind about it. So I started writing about it, and I said, I really should look this up. And I went and looked it up, and I found nothing on this supposed tradition. So I'm like, okay, I couldn't have imagined it. So I went and added the search, the MASH to the search query. And basically it came up with a whole bunch of pages with other people saying basically, hey, I read about this tradition on MASH. Has anyone else heard about it? So as far as I can tell, they invented it for the television show.
Yeah. But the actual tradition of Boxing Day is an exchange of gifts, right?
It depends where you go back to.
It depends where you are, really, yeah. Because
Australia the modern day thing? Because it was all the when I lived in London, they celebrate. It's big there, and I didn't know anything about it. I was a 17, 18-year-old kid, and I'd never heard of it before, and I still don't have a good grasp on what exactly it is. But it's I guess the biggest holiday of the year over in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but yeah.
I mean, as a holiday, it can date back. It more or less dates back to the 10th century or so, and from there it even goes back further by following through St. Stephen's Day. I think I got that right. Which is the name it's still known by in Ireland.
Of course, its modern day usage and its origins are perhaps dramatically different, as is what the Christmas holidays become.
I mean, the interesting thing is that its origins itself are somewhat confusing. I mean, what is the box in Boxing Day? There's at least 3 different stories that relate where that came from. And while they're all similar, they're all different. So they all talk basically about a poor box. But exactly where that poor box comes from and where it goes to and what's in it differs depending on exactly how you trace it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the gist of the story, the gist of the holiday still is more. While Christmas is about giving gifts to friends and peers, Boxing Day was about giving gifts to those less fortunate, or either those less fortunate or those who are I'm going to use a bad choice of words, and I know it. Your inferiors, in a caste sense of the word.
Or is there perhaps some nicer sense of the word? I don't know. Yeah, I lived in India too, so I know all about the castes. That's a rough way to.
Now, see, being totally uninitiated here, I would have assumed that Boxing Day was reboxing up the gifts that you don't want, and you were going to return them.
Oh, I like that. That actually fits in with my blog post.
Okay.
I wish I had thought of that one when I was writing it. No, the
Oh my god, 8:18. Gentlemen, I just have to give somebody a lift. I will try to be back on. Shouldn't be too long.
Are you going to do a mobile hangout and bust some DUI drivers? During your,
I should do that again. That was fun.
I'm going to
yeah,
Subway.
right? You did a mobile. It was the
You
first
do a hangout.
DUI bust mobile hangout, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was the first one. Was an interesting chase. I almost had an accident too. Like I was being as careful as possible, but this guy was swerving everywhere, and all over the roads, slamming into the medians, and yeah.
You should get your phone ready, and you should join the Hangout mobile, like hang up from desktop and then join mobile right away, because we're maxed out now, and get right back in, and then just kind of give us a brief rundown as you're driving around in case you see any fires or bank robberies or assaults in progress or any sort of interesting.
What I'll try to do is I'm just going to pick up someone right now that's about maybe not even 5 minutes from here. I'm going to pick them up, drop them off, and I'm going to join because you guys are going to be open for a while, right? For like an hour or so.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Meanwhile, in Canada.
Sam's threatened to close this hangout twice already so far, so I don't know about that.
Oh, come on. You can't close the Dan McDermott hangout.
So Dan, two weeks ago, I had just landed in Charlotte to catch my connecting flight into Lynchburg, and I was seated next to a guy who's the head of the IT department for J Crew.
Right.
And I knew that your hangout was on, so I logged in. Did you happen to catch me that I was in the plane? And I muted my mic so I wouldn't disturb or anything.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. So I was walking down the aisle of the plane. We were deplaning. It was raining outside, waiting for the carry-on bags to be delivered and everything. But I kept muted, so I didn't want to be a distraction. But it was quite interesting to be hanging out that way.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Adam beat. I don't think he's ever done it from a plane.
No. That is cool. That is very cool, actually.
Yeah, I stayed on it until I boarded the the little Dash 8s that fly from Charlotte back to Lynchburg. And
Adam, that would be okay. This is your next project. You need to bring that. You need to get on an airplane and have that brick phone, right? And be pushing the buttons like you're using it. And the stewardess will come over and say, "Sir, I'm sorry, you have to turn that off." And you can argue with her and actually get arrested over it, right? And there's not even a battery in it. And then you could. So what are you going to do? Sue me for $873 million?
You're bad.
You want a check or a Visa card?
I've never messed with the TSA. I've never.
Even Adam has his limits.
Yeah.
I think I got limits. Yeah.
Try showing her how you put it in airplane mode.
They'll straight up do a cavity search. Yeah, they're not. They don't mess around.
No. You guys would love that. No.
You have to have a few drinks first.
That would be the headlines. Dermot gets a cavity search. Yeah.
I know you're kind of shy. You don't like publicity, so you wouldn't want to do that.
Not the cavity search publicity, no.
There's something for Gawker to hang on.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
We know they like me. Okay, I'll do my best, guys. I'll try to spice things up there in about 15 minutes.
All right, have fun. Drive safely.
Be safe. Bye.
So they still have the noise, though, as you enter or exit.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, considering that noise then gets recorded.
So Dan, can I join this hangout from my phone? Can I?
I think so. Or I don't know. Can you?
Let me check. I'm
Chris,
try it,
you tried that, right? Try it, because there's an open space right now.
Well, I tried logging in while remaining logged in from my desktop, and that may have been an issue with the on-air hangout.
Okay.
I know you used to be able to log in twice, but they've probably shut that door now.
They stopped that.
Yeah.
From the same computer. Yeah, they stopped that one.
No, this is.
I was going to say from the same computer, from different computers, because a week ago I had somebody do it from a different computer. Fine.
Because that was the
Yeah,
original
it was-
workaround. When you couldn't log in mobile, you could start one on your desktop and then join it from your phone and then roll out. I hadn't heard that that was disabled.
You trying it, Brad?
I'm trying to find it on the stream here, but I can't find it.
Yeah, they may have. I think, Priz, you were saying that it wasn't there, right?
Why do you keep giving me credit for this? I said no such thing.
No, you said you couldn't join it mobile earlier in the other podcast.
No, it was Bruce that said that.
Ah,
I don't have a phone that's capable of joining mobile.
that's right. You have a Boost mobile phone.
I've got garbage. And no, it's a Virgin mobile phone. Same piece of garbage.
Ironic. So it doesn't. Let me get my phone and see if I can see it on my own profile.
That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at your profile right now. Hang on, let me look. Oh, there we go. There we go. I see it. There we go. Hang on. Let me join. Hang on. There we go. Let's see. Why can I not?
Hey, did you guys see the thing about the new Toyota hybrid that's going to get 83 miles per gallon? It's going to be called the Prius C, and it's going to cost 22 grand. That will be a game changer. Big time.
Brad's
I
trying
did not.
to jump
I did not
in.
see that name ascribed to it. I saw something else.
When they introduce it in the United States, they're going to call it the Prius C or D or something.
Huh.
Also, I see. I just got a thing.
Do they have a release date for it?
Like next year, I think. And then I see another thing here, another alert, because my phone was charging. Google's iPad killer ready in 6 months.
Right.
What that's about. That's on Drudge Report. Let's see here. I mean, it would seem logical that Google would do a tablet, right?
Well,
No.
I think we've already had. I think we've already had some iPad killers out there, and it's the new Galaxy Tabs. I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard about the recommendations that Apple gave to Samsung to change the design of it to make it. The Galaxy Tabs, in my opinion, do compete very well with the iPad, as long as they're running ICS, not Honeycomb. But Apple's just trying to make them have something that doesn't look the same. And yeah, you could argue bogus patents are not either way. I think they kind of are, considering what the patents are for. Like a black bezel, you know?
Couldn't join, Brad?
No, I couldn't. That didn't work.
A device that's going to compete with the iPad is going to have to look like it a little bit. What do you guys think?
Hey, Brad, let me ask you. On my iPhone, on my Google Plus app, I was able to bring it up, but when I would tap the green Hangout button, it would
Yep.
just come right back to the green Hangout button and wouldn't let
Same
me
with
in.
me. Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have an iPhone 4S, Bruce, or an iPhone 4? Or?
iPhone 4.
Oh, cool. Yeah. No, wait, I'm not sure. Maybe because he's on air. Maybe it's on air feature. Maybe it's not letting
Maybe
us
you
join.
have. Was there a little checkbox?
Nope.
I just posted a link to that story I'm talking about. It's from Fox News. Soon Google could show tablet makers like Asus, HTC, Lenovo, and Motorola how a real Android tablet is made during an interview with an Italian newspaper this week. I think this is a story a couple days old, but it just broke on Fox, and Drudge just picked it up. Eric Schmidt, Google's chief executive chairman, mentioned plans, quote, to market a tablet of the highest quality, end quote. The idea sounds similar to Google's Nexus line of smartphones. Google typically helms the designs of these devices, and the final products are usually treated as the ideal pairing of hardware with Android software. Though the often talkative Schmidt says little else along the lines of confirmed plans, he does give the tablet a 6-month window. Boy, that'll be something. And if they're talking iPad killer, there has to be a price point. That's the headline writer's interpretation of it, not necessarily what Eric Schmidt said. But there has to be a price point element to the competition here, because iPad's a terrific product and clearly the market leader and revolutionary. But it's expensive and out of reach of a lot of consumers, especially at the impulse buy price point. And if someone can come up, like this Indian tablet that's like $120 here, it was $60 in India. If someone can kind of bridge that gap and get a straight-up Android tablet that's not locked down to someone's,
Pan Digital. I've told you this now 4 weeks for weeks. Pan Digital.
Pen or Pan?
Pan. P-A-N-D-I-G-I-T-A-L.
How much is it?
I picked it up for $100.
One problem with sorry, Dan.
How many inches of a screen is it?
7-inch.
Big phone, more than a tablet, right?
It's the the downside is that it's running an older version of Android, but it works better than my phone does.
I hear a cat. Is that a cat?
Yes, that's a cat.
I hear a mountain lion.
He's not a mountain
cat that really has to pee.
He doesn't really have to pee. He just really has to be annoying.
Well, one thing I wanted to say about all these really inexpensive Android tablets, the ones that I've seen, like the one from Pan Digital, well, maybe not the same one Alan has, but the ones that I've seen personally, they all have a resistive touchscreen, and those don't work so well at all.
Make no doubt about it. It's cheap phone. I mean, it's a cheap tablet. I'm not even going to pretend that it's an iPad, because it's not. But at the same, I also didn't pay iPad prices.
Yeah.
And it's more than serviceable for what I'm trying to do with it.
Yep. No, I was saying earlier, I don't know if you guys had heard me or not, we're talking about the new Galaxy tabs. I think the reason why Apple's going after them in court is because they do compete. It may not be like iPad killer level, but I think they can compete a lot better than Apple would want the general public to think, and maybe that's the reason why they're going after them in court so hard.
That's the whole thing, all these patent lawsuits.
Yeah.
We're losing people left and right. Wolf Blitzer, Iraq could break apart. Man, that's a disaster just waiting to happen.
Well, you see,
it took Wolf Blitzer to say that? Come on.
I mean, it's like the sky. Wolf Blitzer, the sky's blue.
Well, right. You see that Al Sider guy coming back to bite us in the butt.
That's just, I mean, in the end, I fear we will have gained nothing and lost a mountain of tragic loss.
Yep.
I haven't seen this, but this one headline: Gingrich releases video Christmas Day 1776, victory or death. On the heels of his failure to qualify in the Virginia ballot is akin to the Pearl Harbor attack.
What a D-bag.
I like Newt. He says some off-the-wall things sometimes.
Yeah, that's precisely why I don't like him.
I like Ron Paul a lot.
Me too.
But
Definitely.
on foreign policy, I mean, you can't just be totally isolationist, and I'm not all for the gold standard, another element that we have no control over dictating the value of something that
we do.
Rely on.
We have well, we don't. Well, yeah, we do. We have control over how much gold we have to back our own currency.
Man, Drudge is incredible. My favorite. What's your favorite Drudge headline? Anybody weigh in? My favorite is, "Man accidentally chops off arm with homemade guillotine."
Yeah.
It reminds me of a tabloid I saw in a grocery store one time. It says, "Man cuts off head with chainsaw and lives."
Are you serious?
Serious.
Man commits suicide.
Oh,
shoots
man.
himself in the head 84 times. Here's the latest one on Drudge. I get these sent to my phone. 200 involved in fights at Mall of America after rumors that rappers are there. Developing.
No, actually, that sounds about
He's
right.
awesome. He is so good. And then something about No Glasses 3D. No Glasses 3D technology to showcase Vegas Electronics Show.
Yeah.
Is 3D a flash in the pan?
Because of the glasses, yeah, I would say so. But that's why they're trying to move very quickly to not having to need glasses.
But like every TV, every company, I mean, like Best Buy suffered last Christmas, not this Christmas, but last Christmas, dramatically because of this. When you have something like Avatar, then I think it's a big deal. It's like a Jurassic Park. You know, I urged my parents when that movie came out. I said, you've got to go to the movie theater and see that movie, right? Because that was cutting edge in its day, just like Avatar was in its day. And I say, this is a must-see. You've got to go, you know, pay whatever it takes to get to the theater and watch it in 3D. It's a life-changing experience to see something that is an evolutionary and revolutionary step in technology while it's happening. You know, because you can't. I mean, it's like trying to describe Elvis Presley or the Beatles or something to someone who wasn't there. You can't really explain it. You have to have been there to have fully appreciated it. And to fully appreciate Avatar or Jurassic Park when it came out, you had to have been there at the time. And so I encourage, when those things happen, I say, listen, go, you know, do it. Go to the theater. You know, don't wait for Netflix or Redbox or the Blockbuster Theater, whatever the current version of that is. See it at the time it's happening, because you're part of history that is going to be discussed forever throughout your life on occasion. But I just thought 3D was it never really caught on in the home theater market. I was like, I'm not going to pay for this. I mean, there's like, what, 20 when it first came out, there were 20 or 30 movie titles you could rent. It was just premature. And then there are different styles of it with different types of glasses, and it wasn't ready. It wasn't ready for prime time. Is this the elusive cat?
Not so elusive.
Agreed.
I wish he was more elusive.
Can we see the cat? Can you hold the cat up so we can see him?
I have to.
Is it a boy or girl cat?
This is a boy.
He's kind of cool. He's kind of pissed off, but cool. In a
He's
cat
always
way.
pissed off.
He won't be on Lolcats anytime soon.
No.
He could be like that picture with the pie that I posted.
So what was the deal with Mark Wilson? I was trying to figure him out. All I wanted to do was show him a guitar because I saw he had 3 or 4 there in the background. But,
I don't know. I think we should probably we should probably pursue David Brinkley's policy of not talking about our guests after they're no longer on the program.
That sounds fine. No, I mean, it was interesting. I mean,
It was interesting.
Yes.
It will be a memorable, discussed moment in historical context.
Mm.
I had to click a couple buttons on that issue, so
Yes, I saw.
I feel kind of guilty. So, and I don't like to do that. But anyway, yeah, this is fun. So I guess now I've got it to where it'll upload, and now I can publicly post these on-air hangouts afterward, which is a whole different side to it. So like it'd be neat if I can post this and then post the produced show because this is not a show. This is just a hangout. But post both versions for folks who are. There are some folks who just love and watch the whole pre-thing and the post-thing and comment the whole time, and some folks who just. One person asked me if I could. They said the show was too long, which is probably a pretty valid point. The actual Google Plus Week show, and asked if I could condense it into a 2 or 3 minute YouTube video.
Oh, gee.
And
Time lapse the whole thing.
Well, I'm thinking that would be. They have a point, you know, that sometimes we drone on, but
yeah.
I mean, the amount of hours involved in trying to figure out which portions to be. So, like, I haven't responded yet to that comment, although it's a legitimate point. It can go on too long, but we kind of go in depth on stuff, and I don't see how you could. It'd be like trying to take a TED lecture. Not to say that we're on that level at all. We're not. But to try to condense a really good 3-hour TED lecture into a 10-minute piece, it'd be difficult.
Aren't they limited to 10 minutes anyways?
But if somebody wanted to do that, it's a volunteer project who was into editing video, I wouldn't care. If they wanted to download the full-length thing and edit it into like a highlight and post that, that'd be fine. I mean, I wouldn't care. I mean, I don't charge anything for it. I don't, you know, advertise on it, so it wouldn't bug me at all. It's a public service that I do, and it's a fun exercise.
Oh, good.
So is that your tablet there?
This is my tablet.
Give us a quick rundown. Yeah, let us know what's going on.
Is that 7-inch form factor?
7-inch form factor. Mm-hmm. You know, it's
Was it running Froyo?
It's 2.2, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's Froyo.
I couldn't remember.
Speak in layman's terms for folks watching.
Android 2.2.
Which is?
A piece of junk.
Oh, wasn't that bad.
That's the attractive price.
No, 2.2 is actually 2.2 is decent.
Yeah.
Wonderful it isn't, but it's decent. You know, this one comes with the home screen's a slightly modified home screen. It's got their own apps attached to it.
Hey, Alan, sorry to interrupt, but can you turn down the screen brightness so I can actually see what's on the screen, please?
Probably not, but we'll give it a shot.
Oh.
Or just
no, I was talking about the screen on the tablet.
Yeah, just position it a little bit so we can. It's okay.
There you go.
Yep, thanks.
Alan,
no, the bigger issue, I think, was that you were getting too much screen glare, actually.
Yeah. Just post a link. Just say that, you know, info on the tablet and the link. Once we're done, once it's posted on my page and on YouTube and stuff, we'll just post a link under there. So for anyone watching in the future, we'll post a link on this so you can get information on this actual tablet. But that looks really cool, especially you said it's $100.
$100.
So it's basically it is as functional as your phone would be, but just a bigger screen, so you can see things better.
It's actually more functional than my phone is because it has a better CPU. I think the interesting thing about this one, it's one of the things that's kind of neat about it is they paid at least a little bit of attention to design. So it has a camera, but it's a forward-facing camera only. Which, if you're thinking about how you want to use a tablet, makes at least a little bit of sense. So, you know, you can get the Skype app, which will do video conferencing through this forward-facing camera. So you have the ability to make video phone calls. And I'd point out that you can't do the same thing with Google+.
Yeah, so it's limited for the price point, but it's limited in the best ways possible.
Yes. I wouldn't even say the best ways possible, but they made the
right choice.
The design decisions that they made make sense. They weren't arbitrary.
That's cool.
And where is this built at?
Probably China.
Okay. And it's Wi-Fi?
It's Wi-Fi only.
Does it have a SD slot for, like, if you wanted to give it?
Yes, it does. SD slot right on the top takes up to 32 gig.
Okay.
Wow.
No, Bruce. It's built in a Union factory in Detroit, and it's $100.
No, somebody was referencing a tablet from India.
I don't want to get into
and
that whole thing. I'm sorry.
I was just
Dan was talking about a India-designed tablet. They're selling it for $50 there.
Okay.
And I hadn't heard that it had made it to the U.S. at all, even.
But they sold out like crazy, so they've obviously upped the price and added shipping and handling and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so.
That's neat.
So how does the hardware build seem to be? Does it feel solid or? Yeah.
You know, it's plastic. I'm not going to say that it's the best, highest quality, but it's decent.
It's worth $100. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, my goal in getting it was that I got it for my 3-year-old. So my expectation is that he's going to drop it.
Oh yeah.
My expectation though is if I gave him an iPad, would be that he would drop that too.
Yeah, my kids drop my iPad all the time.
Right, and I'd rather he drop this than a $400 plus iPad.
All right, let me ask you something. There was a post I saw, and I want to repeat it and get some input from you and from Oleg and any of you guys who want to weigh in.
Oh, you want input from me and Oleg just so we disagree?
No, you doubt me. No, you know me. But there's this nice young lady I've met from KOMU, the TV station, and she is looking at getting an iPad, and she was pointing to some article that said how to completely replace your primary laptop with an iPad. And I wanted to get input on that from an Apple enthusiast and from an Android enthusiast. But is that practical? Because I don't see.
Yeah.
I know the difference between my desktop and my phone and my laptop are dramatic differences in what I can do. I can do certain things on each of them, but the desktop is, of course, the absolute fully functional device, with the exception of the quirky features you can do on mobile with Android that you can't do otherwise.
The answer always is, well, what are you going to be? What are you using it for? What do you use your laptop for now? What are you going to be using your tablet for?
Yeah, clearly in her case, if she's using it for work-related stuff, it would depend on whether the programs, if it's Adobe type stuff or whatever that they're using for the TV station, if they have apps that are accessible and usable on a mobile device.
I mean,
if you're, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think you're about to say the same thing.
Well, maybe, I don't know. No, but if you need something that requires a little bit more hardware oomph, like Photoshop or After Effects, you can use something like LogMeIn, and just have a desktop computer in your office somewhere that you can use LogMeIn, or SplashTop, which is another really good remote desktop client for the iPad, and everything else you would do on a laptop, you can get apps for. You got Pages, Keynote, Numbers. So I mean, it's possible, but I mean, either way you look at it, I mean, Android or iOS. Another thing that's really handy with iCloud, the latest version of Pages. You just go into the settings, find the settings for Pages, flick a little switch to turn on iCloud Sync, and any documents you create in Pages on the iPad automatically get uploaded. You never lose them. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you want to carry around a laptop, or if you want to carry around something a little bit lighter like an Android or Apple tablet.
I mean, it also boils down to things like, do you do a lot of typing? And, there's one thing to toss off a one-line email. It's another thing to toss off a 10-line email, and it's still another thing to write a novel.
Which is what I'm doing on my iPad.
You have a separate keyboard, or are you using the touch?
Yeah, I'm using an on-screen keyboard.
Okay. It really depends what you're used to, what you're wanting to do, and how you work with it.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. My daughter owns an iPad. I don't own a tablet right now, but she bought a case for it at Target that came with a Bluetooth keyboard. It's interesting that in my job, I manage a sales team for a healthcare company, and we use a VIA soft phone on our laptops. My team works remotely from New Smyrna Beach to Seattle. And so there's an Avaya 1X software for the iPhone or the iPad. There's sufficient VPN clients for me to get into our back-end network. ZCOM desktop, so I can monitor calls from my team. And then Netflix, which we use, which is a hosted CRM program founded by Larry Ellison of Oracle. There's an app. There's a NetSuite app for that. So for my work, I could actually manage my team fine with an iPad. Most of my emails are not, do not need to be lengthy. So that's in my particular situation. Of course, there are too many other things that I like to do at the same time where I would feel inadequate. But I could actually do my job with an iPad.
Okay. I guess we got to figure out her issues. I mean, exactly what she's trying to do. So I may post that and just I got to find it because it was a while back. And again, this gets to the search thing, like trying to find something you saw the day before when there's been 12,000 posts in between then and now.
Right.
And you're not exactly sure who sent it, but you remember her vaguely, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And we just got another weigh in on from Christian Marshall. He's watching. He said, "I agree on a shorter show. Trying to get it tighter, which is a constant battle. So yeah, we got to not for the hangouts like this. This is just for grins. But anyway.
Yeah. You're right though, Dan. It does really depend on what you're doing and what you think you'll be able to do versus what you can do. But yeah, if I didn't do any gaming, or PC gaming, I mean, I wouldn't even have. I already would have moved over completely to my iPad.
Changing topics completely, I'm about to show complete ignorance of YouTube and be utterly shocked. YouTube still maintains completely separate usernames from Google?
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do.
I don't think that's accurate.
Well, my YouTube username is John B from Memphis, which is not connected in any way to my Google Plus account.
I mean, I just, I'm logged in as one of my users. I went to upload a video, which would have been ridiculous since I didn't really have one to upload, but I went to that, and it tells me, you must select a username. We need to log you out of your Google account.
Oh. Would it have something to do, like, post to Google's YouTube buyout, or? Because I've had my YouTube account for years. I've never run into that problem. There should be a way to where you can connect your YouTube account to your Google account. So you log in, then log into Gmail, then go to youtube.com, and then you're automatically logged in.
Yeah.
I maintain them in separate browsers. I had that same problem. That's where I ran into a thing where it nuked my first recorded Hangout like this. And if I'm in Chrome and I'm logged in with my Google Plus, and then I just switch to a new browser and go to YouTube, it's going to use the same Gmail address as an account for YouTube that it uses in Chrome. And so if I'm uploading a show, the actual Google Plus Week show, which is a different Gmail address or YouTube account, then I use Internet Explorer or Firefox for that, just to have a different browser so I can have two different accounts open on the same machine.
Yeah.
Okay, the other question I've got that I am trying to figure out and I can't yet is if I upload a video, can I permit it to a limited number of people?
Well, you could leave it unlisted in your YouTube account and then just share it out on Google Plus with who you want. I don't know if that's exactly.
So the answer is that that's just hiding it. That's not really not permitting it.
Yeah, basically. That's the only thing. I mean, maybe you can, but
There's three different sets. There's that, and then there's private, where you have to allow a certain user to be able to see it.
Well, yeah.
In fact, that's the way by default. A good test for that was when I first listed the link. You guys couldn't open it even though you had the link. That's totally hidden. And then and then I switched it to unlisted, and then you could all of a sudden open the link.
Yeah, but the question is there something in between that where the first one you said was private, so that only you could see it? Can you then permit it to other people?
That's exactly what I did. There's public, where it's listed and anybody can see it, and then there's private, where you cannot see it, and then there's in between, which is unlisted, where if they go to your profile, they won't see it, but if you email anybody the link, then they can see it.
Yeah, so if the link leaks out, somebody else can get to it.
Correct, and that's the exact status of the previous Hangout we did.
Okay.
Because when you first saw it, it was private. I shared the link with you, and you couldn't open it. And then I switched it to unlisted, and so if you go to my YouTube channel, you won't see it listed there, but you'll see...
Right, but the problem is you shared that link with me. If I then shared it with somebody else, I could share it with somebody else and somebody else and somebody else.
That's the risk with... Correct. You can keep it private, or you can share...
Okay, so YouTube basically doesn't have anything even vaguely resembling circles, is basically the issue.
Correct. They don't have a thing where you have to be logged in under a certain account in order to see this link. But it's a free service. I mean, what do you want, you know?
Yeah, I've got to tell you, I mean, I've been viewing with it muted the YouTube video, and I'm really quite impressed with the quality of the video. I was expecting it to be more like what we're seeing on the Hangout, but the YouTube recording is really quite good.
I guess there's some degradation on the receiving end, and then further degradation on the transmission end, and the YouTube recording would only be one side of that, right?
Right.
I mean, they're only receiving it all and recording it, and they're not. So you're not suffering the secondary degradation by having to send it two ways. If that makes any sense. I haven't watched it yet because my first two got deleted.
Yeah, the reason I ask is that it from just looking at Dan's and realizing that there's at least the prospect of apps showing up, it made me think of at least a couple of applications for it, but they're all videos that I would not want generally available. So I figured now was a good time for me to start learning about this stuff. It was trying to make my life difficult.
Google has an entire team attempting to make your life more difficult. Yeah, it is pretty good looking. I'm even blowing it up on a pretty big screen over here at 480. Yeah, I think it looks better in the recording than it does on the live Hangout. You're right, Bruce. Yeah, I'm going to post it once we get to that drama part, once I figure out where that begins, and think of all the right things to say. If we figure out, can you post? I asked you this earlier. Have you ever tried to post a video with a link to start at a certain point in Google?
Yeah, you did, and I said I've never heard of such a thing.
In general, or doing it on Plus?
In general.
Oh, because you
can't
link.
John may know better than I do, but I've never heard of anybody able to post a link to a specific time point in a video.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's
you can embed a video, and you can say like you could watch say a Charlie Rose show where he might have 3 different guests, and you post the YouTube video of it, and you're highlighting his interview with Jon Stewart or whoever, and it starts 18 minutes into it. You can embed a YouTube video and put a little code at the end of it that says started at 18:26.
Yeah,
it will work. But I don't know if you can do that in Plus. That was my question. I know you can do it in general, but whether you can do it in Plus.
Yeah, it's you just have to add T equals. It's like if you want a video to start like at 18 minutes, 18M00S, and that tells YouTube to start the video at the link 18 minutes in.
Just like that thing, it's one of those ampersand code equals.
Okay, so it's a URL parameter as opposed to a.
Correct.
As opposed to an anchor. Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's
like that thing with
equals
the constant. The guy who said that a third of every YouTube video is crap, and so whenever he watches a YouTube video, he starts at 1/3. He immediately clicks to 1/3 into it, because there's always some boring intro explaining everything, and then they actually get to the meat. I forget the guy's name, but they actually incorporated that as a short code. It's the something constant. I can't remember the name. Oh man, I'm going to Google YouTube constant and try to show you what I'm talking about, because you could experiment with this. The Wadsworth constant, I think. Yeah, this was a meme. Yeah, the Wadsworth constant. I think you can take any YouTube video, and if you want to experiment with this, you take the regular URL, youtube.com/watch, whatever, blah, 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 and then at the end put ampersand Wadsworth equals 1, I guess, and it will start that video 30% into it, or 3 minutes into it, or 30 seconds into it, or something, which is kind of one of those hidden YouTube features. See, now I'm trying to get my information right, so I don't look like a moron.
There's a link to a help article about it.
Oh.
Apparently, you can go there, right-click, and say copy video URL at current time.
Yep. There's an easier way to do it.
And it gives a time reference in seconds. So that's interesting. I never knew that one. Which is hysterical, because the reason why is most people I see, when they talk about it, will say something like, here's a YouTube video, ignore the first 2 hours, 40 minutes of it. Or, skip to the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, I just did it.
Most people don't know about this feature.
I just went to some random Tech News Today video, and I got the whole URL, youtube.com/watch, $V equals, and then the long code, right? Just the basic URL for any random YouTube video. And at the end of it, I put ampersand, the and sign, and Wadsworth equals 1. And it immediately started it 18 minutes into it in a 1-hour video. It was just following some meme. I think that it's one of those random things that YouTube does just to
but look cool. But look at the URL I just posted. It tells you how to do it for any arbitrary time mark that you want.
Okay, we should always be cognizant that a lot of people will watch this after the fact, and so they won't be privy to the chat room. That's why I try to explain stuff.
Right. This illustrates a different way to do it. This was from within from within YouTube itself. I did a search for what in the world did I do a search for? URL parameter time mark, and it was the first thing in the YouTube help forum. So it involves adding a T parameter. Basically, the trick is you can right mouse click at any point in the video and say create a URL at this time mark.
Yeah, and that's helpful because you might want to say,
right, but nobody ever does it.
Oh no, I disagree.
Every YouTube video I've ever seen where people will say something like, watch this video starting at the 20-minute mark. They won't post the URL to the 20-minute mark itself, so I'm presuming from that most people have never heard of this feature.
They may not have heard of it, but I've seen it before, and I've even, for example, if I wanted, on the previous Hangout, when we had that touching scene, let's say I wanted to stick that on Huffington Post, and I wanted to address just that, but I didn't want, the reason this is useful. Let's say I didn't want to cut it up. I know that most people aren't going to want to watch me, sipping my coffee in the beginning of the Hangout, right? Because that's boring. So I want to go right to the meat of what I'm talking about. But I want to leave the whole video there so that people, X number of people who find that clip interesting might want to go back and watch the whole show, right? So it's a very useful feature where you can embed and make available the entire program, but just highlight from initial, 18 minutes in or whatever it is. And so in a situation like that, like let's say I had a hot guest and something happened, someone throws a pie in someone's face or, theoretically or whatever, then I could take the whole show and put it on there and address like this dramatic incident happened during, this program and a little story about it and click below, and then it'll start at that dramatic point. And then a number of people will find that interesting and want to say, well, what is this show? This is interesting, and then watch the whole show. And the whole thing's right there in front of them instead of having to go down and click to a different version of the video that shows the full-length version.
Oh, of course it, Dan, don't get me wrong. I understand the usefulness of it immensely. My point is more, I don't see anyone doing it.
Oh, I've seen it. I mean, that's how I found out about it. I actually saw it in a, I don't know if it was at Huffington or Business Insider or whatever, but somewhere I saw that. And that's why I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could do that. And then I just, looked into it and figured out that there was that ability. But you can create an embeddable player that starts a regular full-length video at a certain point in time. And it's very useful for interview shows where you have 3 or 4 different guests and you want to highlight one particular controversial or informative or interesting or relevant segment of that show.
Yeah, but and I'm not disputing that there isn't people that do it, but most people who I've seen do it, including on the Huffington Post now that I think about it, will just link to the whole thing and say, go to 10 minutes in.
Because they're not cool like that.
Well, I understand that.
They don't understand.
But like I said, well, except I use the phrase ignorant, but...
That's a strong but accurate term.
Well, I was applying it to myself
bitingly accurate term.
I wonder if that would
controversial
bypass
comment.
an ad up front.
Huh?
I wonder if using that technique would bypass an ad up front, or if the ad would play at the time code that you put in the URL.
That's
I venture it would play at the time code in question because of the way they seem to be doing ads.
Okay.
And as Alan pointed out, it's not a household term type feature, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's not a big issue for them because it's not used all the time. Right. But it is there, and it's a very, very useful feature. There are all kinds of short codes. Like I'm sure there are many short codes for Google Plus that we're not aware of yet that may have been implemented, and they haven't even. I mean, they're not masters of documentation and illustration. They put this stuff out there, and hopefully you're lucky enough to find it. But last night I was at my parents' for dinner, and my mom said, I was so excited because my mom is 74, and she said, she's sharp as a tack, and she said, I want to know about Google Plus. So after dinner, I want you to tell me about Google Plus. And she, I was like so like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, And so I told her all about it, and I showed her, and then we went through an account, and I signed her up, and she signed up for Google Plus. And as soon as she puts a profile picture, I'm gonna post about her and say, like, if you're interested in quilting or gardening, then hook up with my mom. And I'm so excited because I've talked about on the show multiple times that I couldn't see my, that I've been trying to get my 73 and 74-year-old parents on Google Plus, and it's like their eyes glazed, they're not interested. But all of a sudden I went through a search, and I searched for quilts and Virginia and gardening and things like that. And then for my dad, amateur radio and stuff like that. And both of them now are all of a sudden intrigued. So I'm very excited about that. If I can get my grandparents on, then I know Google Plus is here to stay, and then I can just thumb my nose at all these naysayers, because if they can take to it and enjoy it and find it useful, that will be really interesting for me.
And that's the most important part, is thumbing the naysayers.
Exactly.
There are other digits besides the thumb, though.
Correct. As Bruce unleashes his wild side.
Yeah.
to compensate for his earlier performance. No, but yeah, it's I mean, I'll be so excited and I will incessantly brag if I can get my, you know, what is it, septarian parents on here and using it. I would be so excited because they are not at all the demographic group that we typically see on here. I'll be very excited. And Alan, you've completely disappeared.
Yes, I know. I turned my camera off for the moment.
Not that any of us are complaining.
Yes, I know. I really don't understand why you want me appearing on the show every week. Because it's certainly not my looks that are getting your popularity up.
I don't know. You have quite a fan base built up.
Well, I thought his cat was doing the hairball thing, and he just didn't want us to see it.
He's probably changed.
Well, I'm not sitting in front of the camera at the moment, so there was no point in you focusing on my wall behind me.
Maybe he's gone mobile and he's actually in the restroom or something.
And still talking to you? I don't think so. There are some places I do not take my computer.
That's good advice, though. The life hacker thing to make you read the user manual for your different things you buy by putting them in the bathroom, and not bring and forcing yourself to not bring your smartphone in the bathroom with you or any other books or anything to actually make you read the user manuals for things. That's pretty smart. That's funny. How to make a man read the instructions. Put them in the.
It's funny. I went to the local Walgreens to pick up some things that I needed today, and I just noticed when I walked past the battery, part, that almost all the batteries were gone. There were very few batteries there, so I figured, a bunch of dads were going there to get batteries for the battery-operated things they got for Christmas.
Remember the Radio Shack Battery Club?
Oh yeah, they still have that.
They don't.
Oh really?
I asked, and they looked at me like, "Well, that's 20 years old." I was like, "Oh, just kidding."
I remember getting asked by an employee 8-10 months ago. I know it's been within the last year. Asked me if I needed any batteries and.
Oh, they push it.
Yeah.
I mean, they pushed buying batteries, but they don't have the once a month you can get a free battery or something. That was funny. Back when they had the handwritten thing and the triplicate form, and they'd write it out, and I guess someone was paid to put that in some kind of system, probably an AS400 over a phone line, and you know what I mean, with a 12-inch wide floppy diskette and the whole deal.
It's not like getting your Joe Beans card stamped here in Campbell County. You ever been to Joe Beans, the drive-through coffee place here? They've got 2 or 3 little.
There's one at we're talking about Lynchburg, Virginia area. Isn't there one at I don't know, but Joe Beans? There's a couple coffee places right on Forest Road. No, not Forest Road. Right by the Lincoln Drive, and there's a Kroger, and there's a little mini trailer type coffee shop. Is that what you're talking about? One of those places?
Right. That's not Joe Beans.
Double drive-through.
Right. That's not Joe Beans, but it's one kind of like it. But
Joe Bean. Over here we have the Daily Grind.
Yeah, they used to have a Daily Grind in Windhurst, but then it was bought by a gentleman who got tired of living in the corporate world, and he started. It's called the Muse Coffee Company now. Mm-hmm. He's got a mini roaster in there, and then he's got a big roaster in the back. He roasts all his own coffee. Right now, it's the best coffee that you can get in town.
I'll tell you what, for just home brew, I had is it Keurig? Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, yeah.
But they're kind of, they leak, and it's a pain. It's real fast, but I was doing that for a while, and then I just actually switched to regular straight-up brewed coffee, and I like the 8 o'clock brand. Mm-hmm. It's a lower to middle level regular grocery store coffee, 8 o'clock, and there's a red one and a brown one. The red one is similar to your McDonald's 7-Eleven type, and the brown one is similar to your darker roast. And I think that's just terrific coffee. And a lot of people don't understand this. A dark roast coffee actually has less caffeine than a mild roast. The lighter the roast, the more caffeine, because when they roast the coffee, caffeine is released. So the darker the roast, the more caffeine is released. So you're actually getting a weaker coffee, even though the taste and is stronger.
I've been using one of those stovetop espresso pots. There's several companies that make them. They're real popular in Europe. And then I use I can't remember the brand of the coffee right now. It comes in a little red and yellow can, but it's espresso and works out really good.
Yeah.
That sounds like a hassle to wash afterward.
It's just as no longer to clean up than than a small 4-cup drip coffee maker.
Guys, I think I'm going to cash in my chips.
Have we been going for like 4 hours?
It's 9-something p.m., which is early for me. But I've got to do a radio show tomorrow. I'll be on, if anyone's in Virginia, or I guess you can listen online, I'll be on WZRV, WFTR, The River 953online.com. I'll be doing the news at noon and the Valley Today. So
is this a regular radio show of yours?
No, this is just the guy's on vacation, and apparently I'm the only one within 3 counties who can do it, and they want me to do it.
Cool.
But it's a half hour of where I'm reading the news, and I'm a total talking head. I mean, I walk in there, and they hand me the scripts, and I'm just like, news time is 12:05, 46 degrees in Winchester, 47 degrees in Front Royal. I'm Dan McDermott. Great to have you with us. This is the News at Noon, brought to you by Hoover, America's name and vacuum cleaners. Our top story is that kind of thing. And I'm just like blah, 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 reading it. And then I'll interview, it could be the local school superintendents or the host of the air show or whatever. And I just got a thing. This is neat. I got a tape, an audio cassette tape. I'm going to digitize and I'll post. But it's me on WLVA, which Bruce will remember when he was younger, from 1980. I guess I was a teenager, and I was the news director at WLVA when I was like 19 years old. And my mom was in town, and she has a recording of me reading the news that she recorded, I think, from her car on a cassette player from the radio. So that'll be neat. I haven't heard that. I mean, that's from, 20-some years ago. So that'll be neat to hear me when I was a young whippersnapper, like, young, tall, and skinny, the whole deal. I think it even has the ABC News sounder at the beginning. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. So have a great week, and
this has been a blast.
We'll see you next time.
Bruce, you're an inspiration to all of us. It was great. Merry Christmas, Merry Post-Christmas, Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
I'll see you Friday.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right. All right, Jonathan, you still awake?
Yeah.
I admire you. John Blanton, I'm not so sure if you're still awake.
Yeah, I'm still awake.
I can't tell if Jonathan's awake, I know, but John Blanton, I don't know if he's awake. Are you awake?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm awake.
John's there.
No, I'm still here.
He's cognizant. He's fully cognizant. I see Jonathan there, fully awake, the administrator. And I'm over here in front of my chroma key. And, of course, the elusive Alan, prisoner, Furstenberg. Say my name, say my name. All right. Hey, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate it. It's been great. And for anyone watching, thanks for putting up with us. And I'll post this once it finishes doing whatever it's doing.
Yeah.
It's been fun, Dan. Have a good week.
We're good, warts and all, We'll do in a pinch. On a slow news day, what are you going to do? All right, thanks, guys. Have fun.
See you around.
Take care.